every time I have the conversation with someone that Korn is actually my favorite band, like there is no amount of 25-year-old thick skin that can guard me from the looks that I get.
The Rule 34 questions were last week.
That's not a puzzle, it's pushing blocks.
If a wave of dragons are coming to raise my town and burn my crops, that's pretty awful to me directly.
But I want to hear about your other shitty characters.
Of course, invest in a robotic Flavor Flav.
This is the Debate This podcast. Welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this podcast, we take time out of our busy adult lives to argue over the important things like comics, video games, and why Almond Joy is actually the worst candy to get at Halloween. Do not at me.
I have never agreed with you as much as I do right now.
You don't want to stake your claim on Crash Team Racing, huh?
I thought the almond. I had a stronger opinion about Almond Joy earlier today, and wanted to chase that.
Fair enough.
That dragon. My name's Kyle Harper, and joining me today for today's discussion are Matt Bit-O-Honey Cole, Andrew Candy Corn Henderson, and Todd Toothbrush from Your Dentist Thomas.
Good.
Today we're doing what we do best, taking a series we all love and talking about it like it's hot garbage. We're trying to pin down the worst NPC in the Legend of Zelda series who isn't named Fee, because we would all pick Fee if that was on the table, and we wanted some original answers.
There are so many bad ones. There's so many bad ones.
Yeah, but like Fee is the worst, and I didn't even play that game.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, sure, absolutely.
Well, if there are so many bad answers, why don't you guys share with us who you think the worst offenders are? Introduce your garbage character and what they did that is so unforgivable. And Matt, no poetry this time.
I will sustain. Not sustain is the wrong word. I will abstain.
Refrain
from poetry.
Abstain.
Refrain.
I will continue to do poetry.
I will stain from poetry. So let's be completely honest here. I have not played a single Legend of Zelda game in my life. I played the first 45% of Twilight Princess, and I have watched a lot of Zelda on the YouTubes, but I have not played any Zelda. However, I do own a Zelda game, and that Zelda game is Breath of the Wild, and I probably know more about Breath of the Wild than any other Zelda game. So that's the one I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to talk about the character that I love to hate the most, and he is this guy named Muzu. Is everyone aware of Muzu, or
I'm not.
Okay.
I forgot about Muzu until I looked him up and was immediately reminded how much I dislike Muzu.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so Todd, Muzu is like your racist grandpa, or like your girlfriend's racist grandpa. He is your racist grandpa-in-law. That is Muzu.
Who's also a
Zora.
hammerhead shark.
Yeah. He's a Zora who really hates Hylians. So let's get some background on Breath of the Wild in case for some reason, somebody missed that gigantic piece of Zelda lore.
In case you just crawled out from under a rock.
Yeah.
Like Todd.
So
I'd never played this. You're telling me right now.
Yep. Okay, so here we go, Todd. It's Hyrule. Everything is great. There's Link and these 4 other guys, and they are the great warriors from the different main important nations that you have to go to, and they drive big robotic animals made of stone. So, one of those 4 other guys is not a guy, it's a girl, and her name is Mipha. And Mipha and Link have a history that's important later. So,
Mipha is the new waifu.
Yes, yeah. So, we're in Hyrule, everything's great, there's Link, there's these 4 other guys, boom, Ganon comes back. But it's not Ganon, it's Calamity Ganon. And Calamity Ganon is the actual worst. Destroys everything. Kills the 4 other guys, Mipha included. Not Link, puts Link in like a 100-year coma. Mostly because of Zelda. Some lore happens. We wake up. Link.
Basically the plot of Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, that's not
like more or
totally
less.
totally inaccurate. Yeah.
Calamity Ganon is concentrated evil.
I don't want to say that was the worst synopsis of Breath of the Wild I've heard, but you could have done a lot better.
I could have, but I probably could have if I played the game, but I didn't. I just watched a bunch of playthroughs. So, anyway, Link wakes up. Link has to go resurrect the robotic animals made of stone with the spirits of the 4 other guys. One of those 4 other guys being Mipha. That's where we're at in the story. That's the background you need to know. So Link goes to the Zora domain to meet King Dorephan. King Dorephan is Mipha's father. And when he's talking to King Dorephan, the king, the most important Zora, there's this one other asshole. And that one other asshole's name is Muzu. And Muzu...
He looks so mopey.
Yeah, he's a just not happy looking guy. Muzu exists only to interrupt King Dorephan and bitch and moan about Link being a Hylian and how much of a problem that he has with Hylians. Because according to Muzu, it's the Hylians' fault that Calamity Ganon came back. It's the Hylians' fault. Yep, there he is. Thanks to whoever posted that picture. It's the Hylians' fault that Mipha is dead. It's the Hylians' fault that Calamity Ganon is still around. Everything is the Hylians' fault. And that's every line he says in the damn game. Something, 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 fuck the Hylians. Something, 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 fuck the Hylians. And he exists for 10% of the whole game. That is the only time that you ever interact with this NPC. But there is no other NPC who talks as much shit about Link and is as annoying about his hatred for the Hylians as Muzu is. He is harder on Hylians than Gerudo women are on men. He is just an angry racist grandpa, and that is all that he is. And I don't know why they took what might be the greatest game of our generation and inserted an angry racist grandpa in it, but they did, and his name is Muzu, and that's why Muzu's the worst.
I did drop a picture of Muzu into the Google Doc for you, Todd. I just to use an analogy, you get the impression that Muzu watches or reads a lot of the Legend of Zelda version of Breitbart.
Yeah, or the Blaze.
He's very, very. None of these are my problems.
Yeah,
they're Hylian's problems.
He says Legend of Zelda's baby boomer.
One of his quotes that I'm seeing in here is that he assumes Link is a quote lying scoundrel, and I feel like scoundrel is like a Zora dog whistle. I don't I don't like what he's implying with the word scoundrel.
Yeah, and every time King Dorephan tries to give something to Link or help Link or do anything for Link in any way, Muzu's immediate response is, King Dorephan, no! Every time. And that's exactly how he sounds. There's no voice acting in the game, but that's how he sounds. So King Dorephan tries to give Link the Zora armor because Mipha made it for Link, because Link drained his nugs in Mipha, maybe. It's alluded to.
Gross.
It's implied.
And that really upsets Muzu. Muzu storms off, refuses to give him the armor, refuses to help him in any way. He's a racist old grandpa roadblock. He's the worst. I can continue to repeat that he's a racist old grandpa because that's what makes him the worst, but somebody else's turn.
No, I think we got it. I'm gonna decide whether to take or give you points for the phrase "drained his nugs."
Yeah, I'm still dealing with that one.
While Andrew tells us about his awful character and what they did to ruin the game they appear in.
So, if you couldn't tell from Matt's diatribe, Legend of Zelda games cannot write compelling women. They just can't.
Absolutely
Women are a product, a thing that Link has to save. From Medley in Wind Waker to the Maidens in Link to the Past to Midna and Twilight Princess to basically every single incarnation of Zelda. Women who aren't named Impa simply exist as the thing you have to save from you.
Women who aren't named Impa is pretty accurate.
Thank you.
My only objection is Zelda and whatever her name is before she reveals herself as Zelda in Wind Waker is a BAMF.
Tetra.
Oh, Tetra.
But you have to save. You have to save her 3 times in Wind Waker.
What about the
introduced the
other
concept.
warrior from Breath of the Wild, the girl with the big hips, whose name I don't remember.
That's a good point. She's actually pretty cool. All the other she was like the cool Gerudo, right?
But pre Breath of the Wild,
Zelda is chic in
pre Breath of the Wild.
In Ocarina of the Time. Your argument is flawed.
And as soon as Sheik reveals,
whoa, spoiler alert.
First of all,
Sorry. we'll tag spoilers for a 20-year-old game at the beginning of our.
We can table this down the line, but my argument stands where as soon as Sheik reveals himself to be Zelda, she's put in a big fluffy crystal and taken away. So
Yeah.
Touche.
Fair enough. So when they tried to create a memorable character for Twilight Princess, that someone that was going to stick around, someone that could give you quests and not necessarily be like a token or like a MacGuffin, MacGuffin for you to find, they made a real huge left turn.
They zagged hard.
They zagged. They zagged where they should have zigged. Twilight Princess has got a lot of weird shit in it. For those of you who haven't played it, it's weirdly dark in some places, but then in other places it's like obtusely goofy. There's a lot going on there, just like the design, like a lot of cool things, but also a lot of not great things. One of those not great things is Agatha. Agatha is the princess of the Bug Kingdom, and you encounter Agatha in Hyrule Castletown fairly early in the game. I think similar to Ocarina, you get to Hyrule Castle like right after you get out of the main little like woods area, and her whole thing is she tasks you with finding the 24 golden bugs scattered throughout Hyrule. So this is basically, because bug collecting, because it's a JRPG and we got to bug collect. So she's kind of the 100% completion checkbox of the game. So like the gold Skulltulas, stuff like that. But so like the story around this is very flimsy. You walk in and this music is very odd. It's kind of like evoking like nursery rhymes or like an old an old Disney movie or something, and everything is very extravagant. She's got like froofy furniture and all this like fluffy, very girly accoutrement, and all these like framed pictures of bugs. And she says she wants you to collect the 24 golden bugs so that they can go to the ball, because they've all been invited to a ball, because of course each of the bugs has a male-female pairing. This is the only way. So every Zelda game, you have ways to expand your wallet, so you can carry more rupees, so you can actually buy stuff. This is the way that you do that. So you have to do this. And again, anyone's played a 3D Zelda, like you just can't go through the game with the max of 99 rupees. You can't get anything. So you basically have to do this if you want to make any progress. And it's a fucking pain in the ass. It sucks. This sucks so hard. These bugs are not like your normal. It's not like going around in Animal Crossing collecting like beetles and stuff. You're walking around in the giant Hyrule field trying to dodge around like moblins and shit, and you're looking for little translucent fucking grasshoppers in the grass. Like, I mean, like a bright green grasshopper in the bright green grass.
This is already a game that gives you a fetch quest after you beat each boss too. Like each like new section of the game begins with find those orbs. So it's already a game filled with fetch quests.
It is the worst. And in the game, the aesthetic behind the game is, they wanted to make it very dark, but there are points at which this game does a real heel turn, and this is one of them. And it doesn't work. It just feels very off. So like I said, you walk in and this music's all and Agatha is this like little girl. She looks like she's no more than like 12 years old. She's got little like blonde pigtails, and she's all dressed up, and she's like hee, and she's very much like detached from the real world. I mean, literally the world is being consumed by shadow, and she's like, "Ooh, let's go to the ball." Like there's something definitely wrong with her mental state. But she's just kind of out on her own, living on her own devices. She has all this money. It's no secret that she's loaded, but it's not like she works. She doesn't leave the house. She's effectively a shut-in. So you have to wonder, where's that money coming from? Maybe she inherited it. There's some interesting hypotheses I saw on the internet where maybe she's part of the royal family, and she's being hidden out in this little apartment because they can't deal with her burgeoning mental illness.
Oh my god!
Wow, that took a huge
that
left turn again.
Yeah.
But so it takes more left turns. Every time you give her one of the bugs, you have to only give her one at a time too. There's this like dialogue tree that happens. So with some of the bugs, like she'll say some like cute little flavor text, like "Oh, I love ants. They're so cute and whatever." But there's some of them that are really unsettling. Like I'll just read you one. You hand her a stag beetle, and the words are, "Little stag beetle, little stag beetle, your spiky pinchers are so sharp. They must feel so good. ...
Oof.
That's
Yeah, it's a little
that's
weird.
like
Yeah,
that got a little erotic.
yeah. She's so regardless of what's going on, she's boning down on these bugs.
Well, this is like a 10-year-old girl. I'm looking at the wiki. She's a 10-year-old girl, the self-proclaimed princess of bugs.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me a little bit like you're kink shaming a middle schooler.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's how it sounds. I don't know.
Okay. Matt, were you that middle schooler that was eerily aroused by beetles?
God, no, I hate bugs. I hate bugs so bad. I hate bugs the way Misty hates bugs. They're
Nice.
Thanks.
That's a good throwback.
Pokemon gets the downloads.
Sick ref, bro.
Here it is. There it is. Crap. Yeah. So that's Agatha. She sucks.
All right. And let's bring this home. And Todd, tell us who you think ruined the Legend of Zelda franchise.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you who ruined The Legend of Zelda because it happened a long time ago. So join me in the year 1998. Our lives were simple and full of joy, and Link was living his life as a youngster who had been untainted by the world, just perusing the land of Hyrule. And in his pursuit of trying to find the Zora's Sapphire, he is sent to meet with King Zora, who sends you to rescue his daughter, young Princess Ruto, which that all tracks. That's a very like Legend of Zelda situation to be in.
Another woman who needs saving.
Yeah. And so, mind you, you went to meet with King Zora to get the Zora Sapphire. It's one of like the first 3 collectibles you need to move forward. So in this fetch quest, you were introduced to what I believe is the single most frustrating mechanic that just robs Link's innocence and youth from him, as he is forced to carry around Ruto's dumb, lazy, entitled fish ass around the inside of this stationary fish god of the Zora people. And so
wait, there's a lot to unpack in what you just said.
Oh,
Yeah,
and it's all there.
Why don't you back up a little bit and break that down for us a little more, Todd?
Yeah, I would love to. So Zora, who is this princess, Ruto, who is the princess of the Zora people, was screwing around and playing with the Zora Sapphire because why not just fuck around with the most valuable thing from your empire?
You're kind of channeling Muzu right now.
Well,
Just screwing around.
And
Just
she
screwing
was
around.
she was messing around with this Zora Sapphire and horse playing in front of their giant, dumb, stationary fish god, Jabu Jabu. And so she managed to get herself swallowed by their fish god and lost the Zora Sapphire. And so when you go to find her and the Sapphire, when you finally find her, she says, "Meh, you can carry me, I'm a princess." And so you spend the entire time in this stupid fish temple carrying around this NPC who doesn't want to walk on her own. Mind you, she was just playing around, then lost the Sapphire. So you have to carry her through this temple using her to weigh down switches all the way through it, and then you fight your way out. And you're still carrying her through everything but the final battle because she's irresponsible and the worst. And so my point that I'm going to make today is there are bad NPCs because they're annoying. There are bad NPCs because they make your life difficult. And then there are bad NPCs that give you bad quests. Young Princess Ruto checks all 3 of those boxes, and she checks them hard.
I think there's one thing that I'm remembering vaguely, and I don't think the game does a good job of. It's very much a hand wave, but I think they try to at one point make you believe that Ruto like plays in Jabu Jabu's belly all the time, and she got swallowed by mistake or something because like something along the lines of like, oh, he was being really mischievous or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's angry.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
You know what?
It stands to reason though. Don't fucking play in a whale's stomach. Pinocchio learned that same lesson.
That's bad parenting. I blame the parents.
All right. So we'll get into some questions and see where we're going here. So our first question is a new Legend of Zelda game is announced, and it's interesting. Nintendo has been very excited to announce that this Legend of Zelda game is going to heavily feature your least favorite character, your worst character. Spends the whole game teamed up with this character. What's this game look like, and how awful is it?
Fortunately, in
Matt.
Todd's case, it's Ocarina of Time already.
Yeah.
Oh, you just wait.
It looks exactly like the last uncomfortable family Thanksgiving dinner you had with your relative who voted differently than everyone else in the family.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
how
man.
this whole game feels. Because, like, and I know I'm gonna lay really hard into this Muzu is a racist, angry grandpa thing.
He is.
Because-
I read one paragraph in the wiki. And
Wait. So Matt's
Yeah.
going to take one particular thread and just kind of fucking roll with it?
And beat it into the ground.
Yeah,
That's
except
crazy.
Except this time, it's gonna be a very forward-facing and not, like, deep-cut thing. Because every single thing that Muzu says is how bad the Hylians are. And he doesn't ever really give any reason for why he hates the Hylians as much as he does, other than that he assumes it's their fault.
I think it is their fault. They flew too close to the sun. They tried to play God. Motherfuckers got burned.
All right,
Okay, Muzu.
now you're a little
It's Matt's
racist to
turn.
Hylians. That's how you are.
Wow, you're
That's
just
the
like the rest
story
of
of
those
the game.
scoundrels.
Well, okay. Maybe if they would read their history and they would learn a lesson or two.
This is still like vaguely like these are definitely racial dog whistles. Like that's all this is.
Yeah, and like, so let's be honest here. Everyone has had at least one family holiday where they get sucked into at least one political conversation that is just nails on the chalkboards behind your eyes. Like, it is so painful to listen to that you lose at least 3 of your 5 senses, and you just sit there in white hot rage, not knowing if you should incidentally disown yourself from the family or hold your tongue until it's all over and chew more of your grandmother's cooking. Like, that is a very real experience that we have all had at one point or another. And if you want to put that into a video game, if you want a 45-hour adventure of listening to someone who thinks everything opposite of you, then you be my guest, and we'll call it Legend of Zelda: Uncomfortable Holiday. And it probably won't sell many copies, but it'll have a lot of Muzu in it. I can tell you
Well,
that
it might
much.
because it has the Legend of Zelda name attached to it.
That's
but-
It'll
true.
sell all the copies.
Yeah, man. Even
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors sold a lot of copies, but it is not.
Power Warriors is a good game, whatever.
Even Spirit Tracks sold a lot of copies.
Yeah.
Let's use that as our low water mark for recent Zelda games.
Sure. I haven't even heard of that one.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think that that's what it would look like. And the other thing is that, like, Muzu refuses to do a lot of things that he should do. He is the king's second in command. He was Mipha's teacher. He has the closest relationship to Mipha other than her father and probably Link. He should be very helpful. He should be answering questions and giving Link guidance through the Zora domain. And he staunchly refuses to do all of those things. Why? Because Link is a Hylian and Muzu's really fucking racist. Like, just so fucking racist. So he won't do any of that. So if you want to put him as your companion and you need him, it'll be like the exact opposite of Fee, which sounds like a good thing. But then, there's like that one time that you're like, ah, shit, I really needed to pay attention to what Fee just said. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? And you ask Muzu, like, hey, man, can you run that by me again? He'll be like, why, were you too dumb to listen because you're Hylian? And that's all you'll ever hear for 45 hours.
Maybe if you had a better work ethic, Link.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's a better sell for Skyward Sword. Like if it's Fee, but just like a little racist. Like, Master, I think you should avoid these people.
Yeah, right?
Oh.
And like, I want to make
Master,
an example.
you're heading towards one of those neighborhoods.
Master, we don't go down that road.
All right. Before things get more uncomfortable,
Yeah, please.
Andrew, what does what does your Legend of Zelda game featuring Princess of Bugs Agatha look like?
Jesus. Bug collecting. I don't want to go bug collecting. I never want to go bug collecting. Unless it's Animal Crossing, I don't want to go bug collecting. This whole game is just running around searching for fucking bugs. And again, like those jewel colored translucent ones that blend into the already muddy textured environments. But all the time Agatha is just there talking to you, but like not talking to you, talking at you. Like, you know that thing that like 8-year-olds do? It's like, and then I had this one, and then this one is like this one, and then he did this, and then and you're just like, uh-huh.
All you can do is nod and agree and hope
you
it
can't,
ends
like,
soon.
You gotta let them talk. You gotta let them get it out. You don't want to, stifle their creativity. But Jesus, fuck. But imagine. I mean, you're playing Legend of Zelda. You're in Hyrule. This is a land of myths and mystery and fables, and there are monsters and magic and all this crazy stuff. A moblin rushes toward Link, spear in hand. Did you know that bugs do not have lungs, but most have compound eyes and they are cold-blooded? Link's pushing around blocks because it's a 3D Zelda and he's pushing around blocks to solve puzzles. But then she's talking about insects are divided into 32 groups, and the largest group is the beetle, but beetles account for, or every bug is 1 out of 4 of them is a beetle. Ganon is attacking Hyrule. Agatha's talking about which species of insect reproduce asexually. Like, God, the whole time. And then just like these one-off non sequiturs about either she wants to be an insect or be inside an insect.
Oh no!
I will leave you with one more nugget here. Here's another quote. This is when you turn in a snail. Little snail. Just once, I'd like to take a bath in that slime.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that at all.
Yeah, that's
gonna
something that I
haunt me.
can't get that one out of my brain.
Yeah, that's the Legend of Zelda bug collector.
Is Agatha like Zelda's, like Nintendo's attempt to like corner the vor market? Like, this is icky.
It's at least dipping a toe. There's some real DeviantArt stuff going on there.
Like Disney kind of like wink wink nudged that Zootopia was for furries, and this feels like Nintendo doing that.
That's why it had David Schwimmer in it, because he is a well-known furry.
Is that true?
I've said it online now, so it could be true. Hey, we're gonna need everyone to hashtag David Schwimmer furry.
All right. And Todd, what does your game featuring Princess Rudo following you around, offering you guidance, look like?
So it's already been alluded to that we've gotten a taste of this, but boy howdy, that might as well just have been a PlayStation demo disc, because we're going all in now in a game that I've titled Rudo and Link's Terrible Adventure Pressing Switches and Hearing Lectures from an Irresponsible 8-Year-Old, and Everything is Wet because it's inside a stupid dumb fish. So
the first third of Ocarina of Time. That's the first third of Ocarina of Time.
Well, and so like the best parts of playing as Link is that Link loves to swing swords and do backflips and shoot hook shots and chase the cuckoos, or that what the chickens are called, and riding Epona. But you know what? Fuck you. You don't get to do any of that in this game, because you're spending the whole time just picking up and putting back down Rudo over and over and over again. And you know what? Everyone's favorite part of games are always fetch quests and escort missions, right? Good, because you're getting 30 plus hours of that bullshit, and you're gonna buy it, and it'll probably have some stupid mechanic where it's on the Switch, so you have to pick up Rudo, and to do that you have to lift the Joy-Cons over your head to do it, and you have to hold him there. You have to hold him there the whole time, and this game's gonna go triple platinum because it's a Zelda game, and it's gonna have a new mechanic. And you know what? You're going to buy it and you're going to deal with it.
I love the idea that the rest of this game is so good that you put up with that. Like, everything else about this game isn't fantastic, so you have to endure this like holding the controller above your head the entire
Dude, I mean, we all
time
did
you
it
play
for
the game.
Skyward Sword. Like, we did it for Skyward Sword. That was a thing.
And here's the way I imagine it too. Like, as with any game, you're going to go through the tutorial and they like teach you the mechanic. And you're like, oh, like that's kind of a neat thing. Like every time, like you said, Skyward Sword, every time I need to do it, I just lift my hands up. Cool. But when you put your hands down like a normal human being, you drop Rudo. And it's in that moment that you know what the next 30 hours of your life is going to be.
But Todd, what if you have to push blocks? How do you manage pushing blocks and carrying Rudo at the same time?
You don't. To throw Rudo, you have to do like pretend like the Joy-Cons are the legs of a steel folding chair and you just like swing it. And that is how you throw Rudo onto the switches.
You don't just mash Rudo into the block and push them.
You don't just
push the blocks with Rudo.
No, you don't do like push-ups in the air to do that.
I use this 8-year-old for leverage.
Yeah, there's going to be a peripheral they're going to sell with it. It's actually an 80-pound like dummy, like the ballistic gel dummy. And so you have to pick
in the
it up
shape
and
of a
push it.
small Zora child.
It's the fun thing is if you buy it, you're instantly on a list.
Well, again,
The
people
FBI is
bought We
immediately
Fit,
watching
so.
your house.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on and let's flip the script a little bit, and we got a similar situation, brand new Legend of Zelda game, but with this announcement, Nintendo is telling you that the big bad is not going to be Ganon or Ganondorf this time. It's but it is a character we've seen before, and it is your character that you hate so much. So tell us about that game. Tell us about that final boss fight, and what needs to happen throughout the course of that game or in that fight to just make beating the crap out of them at the end when you're like God mode Link feel so satisfying.
So
Matt.
So like in Breath of the Wild with the art of the Zora, it can get really kind of difficult to tell what is Zora and what is Zora clothing. Because a lot of things look like heads that could also be hats, and things look like hats that could also be heads. And so what would really make me happy, like what would be the best part of that boss battle, is if it could end with me like popping off whatever doesn't actually belong to Muzu's anatomy and putting it on my own head and taking it as a trophy. But what would like really bring me joy, what would make it all worth it, is like if I don't, the battle ends and you get him. Obviously it's a Zelda boss and it's a big bad, so they've got to have at least 3 incarnations. So you get to the end of stage 3, you knock him down to like that last sliver of health, and then it ends. You don't kill him. There's a cutscene, and that cutscene is Lady Mipha coming back to life and coming over and like giving Link a big hug. And then Muzu says this exact same quote that he says in Breath of the Wild, which is, how could Lady Mipha possibly have feelings for a Hylian like him? And then Lady Mipha goes over to Muzu and says, "You're wrong and you're racist and I love Hylians. Ha 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 ha, suck it." And then he just explodes. Like he just can't handle the overwhelming amount of racism and explodes. That's what I want to happen. That's what I want to happen to all racist grandparents. I just want them to see their grandkids kiss a minority. That's my goal for America in 2018.
Almost certain that fan fiction exists. Like, exactly.
Oh, I'm so sure it does.
It's out there.
Yeah, well, and like,
Yeah.
I really like Mipha as a character, and then it's
Mipha's very
yeah,
good.
it's just, it ends with, but she's still dead and still just a spirit, and it makes me sad. So if I could get Mipha in a game, that would make me really happy, and if I could get Mipha telling Muzu that he's racist, it would make me play Zelda. Like, that would make me play a Zelda game.
Mipha is a way cooler Zora princess than Rudo is, just getting it out there
Yeah.
right now. Or than Rudo is.
100%.
Yeah, there is actually like a huge online conspiracy that Rudo is Mipha.
Oh, well, that would be great, because let me tell you, spoiler alert, Rudo's bad.
Well, she's not. That's impossible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can't be.
Because the divine beast is named after her.
Yeah.
Did I go too far?
No, that's
Did I get too deep?
Did we? Andrew, you're too deep. Swim back.
Am I on the other side of the door?
Swim back. All right. So Andrew, tell us tell us what your satisfying boss battle beatdown would look like with Agatha.
So, right. So this is the point at which Kyle's wondering, will Todd or Andrew advocate for beating up a very young child?
Spoiler alert, Andrew's going to.
The answer, unfortunately, is no.
Unfortunately, is that what?
Maybe
You said
maybe
you
Todd
said the
will get
quiet
us
part
there.
out loud.
To your dismay, the answer is no. Link is going to do the one thing that he never does, which is respond back to a person.
Mm.
He's going to reply back and be the adult in the room and be the only one to point out how fucking batshit crazy this whole situation is. I have to imagine that if Agatha is the big bad, there's probably an army of translucent bugs running amok, filling the skies with sparkles and candy and sprinkles. What Link is going to do is Link is going to be real with Agatha. He's going to point out that she's living in a fantasy and that she's completely disassociated from the real world. Look, here's the deal. Ganon is coming. This is happening. Your world is about to be covered in darkness, and Agatha needs to come to terms with it. Link is going to be the first person to stop letting her indulge in this fantasy, come back, pull her back to the real world, get back to school, get out of the house, join the rest of the world so that we can fight Ganon and stop the evil. Because admitting that you have a problem is the first step to recovery.
All right.
I'm glad that you didn't beat up a young bug-loving girl.
Did not beat up a young child. I advocated for tough love.
So your final boss battle is a like tough love intervention, like
Yep.
with streamers and letters
Yep.
that our loved ones wrote to her.
And it starts with the words, "Look, kiddo."
He turns the chair around backwards and sits on it.
Yeah.
They
have a
turns
rap
his
session.
ball cap around.
Yep.
Sits backwards on the chair so she knows he's cool.
Yep.
All right. And Todd, what does your Rudo as the big bad game look like?
Yeah, so I will also not be hitting any young children today. So
disappointing.
Rudo as the big bad, just she would be personified by the humans and Wall-E. Like, she is floating around doing nothing for herself, being taken care of by whatever else, because that's just who she is. She has people serving her, doing everything. Literally, the very first conversation you have with her is she's like, "You're gonna carry me because plot." And so she has so few dimensions that is just who she is. And so Rudo as the big bad is running everything with everyone serving her. So do you remember A Bug's Life? Like, the grasshoppers ruled over the ants and made them do everything for them. That's how Rudo is. Rudo is Angelica from the Rugrats, but with all the power of the Zoras beneath her thumb.
Ooh.
And so in my game, what ultimately would happen is that fierce deity Link, he would liberate the people, the Zoras. He leads an uprising, and he would become the benevolent leader a la Fable 3. And so in that style, young Princess Rudo would then be forced to she's going to do community service at that point. She's going to be required to serve lunches and clean up the playgrounds at one of the underperforming Zora elementary schools in the area. And that is how you defeat Princess Rudo, by dethroning her and making her do community service amongst the normal people in impoverished areas.
So this is like an undercover boss situation.
It's more like Scared Straight, only it's not in a
Scared
prison
Straight.
and no one's getting yelled at.
Okay.
So it's really not like Scared Straight at all.
Nope.
All
It's
right.
like, oh, no. You just wrote The Emperor's New Groove. It's The Emperor's New Groove.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, it
is.
kind of is.
kinda is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So
So Todd wrote The Emperor's New Groove, the video game. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I would
I
also
think
play The Legend of Zelda, The Emperor's New Groove.
well, and the best part is that Link is played by David Spade. So
So
Who does John Goodman play?
one of the Gorons.
King Zora.
Ooh, no, I think he's got to play the Goron. I think he's got to play a Goron.
All right. Well, this is
Actually,
a road we shouldn't.
John Goodman actually plays Sheik.
Wonderful. All right. Well, now that we beat that joke to death, let's move on to our third question. And I'm gonna make you guys put up or shut up. Put your money where your mouth is. If your character is so terrible, I want you to say some great things about the other two characters. Tell me what makes the other two characters not as bad as yours, and in fact, actually redeemable. Really sell it. I wanna believe you here, Matt.
Sure. So like first off, these are just cute little kids, man. Like y'all are just bitching and moaning about like cute little girls. Like I don't understand why they ruined the whole game. They're just kids. And the cool thing is
they're kids acting like kids.
Yeah, and like the cool thing about
doing
these kids
things.
They're kids impeding your progress and making you, a grown adult who's trying to save the world.
See, here's the thing though.
Stop and do inane bullshit.
No. They're
Yes.
not impeding your progress because if you hang out with these kids long enough,
They are exactly that.
shut the hell up.
Rudo-
It's my turn. Listen.
Yeah, you talk and then I'll tell you you're wrong.
Okay, if you hang out with these kids long enough, you get some shit. Like, all you gotta do is babysit for a little while, and your wallet gets bigger. Babysit for a little while, and you get the Zora Sapphire. They are not hindering your forward progress. They are making it possible for you to move forward. Sure, you gotta babysit for a little while. They're just kids, man. Like, it's okay for kids to be annoying. All kids are annoying. It's okay for kids to have an obsession with bugs. A lot of kids have obsessions with bugs. You just hang out with them for a couple minutes, play with them for a little while. They give you some shit, and then you go on your way. How easy is that? Like, I don't see what's so bad about hanging out with some cute kids and getting some free stuff for, like, putting in a
So
little
you've
bit of
given-
work.
Keep coming back.
You've given a point, and I want to offer a counterpoint. You said you hang out with them and they give you stuff. Had Rudo not been the most irresponsible child to ever exist, she would have just been standing in the king's living room, been like, "Oh, this thing here," and then you would have left,
Like,
and it would have been fine.
I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you that kids aren't the worst, because, like, I hate kids. I really do. But what I'm saying is that, like, you were complaining about kids being kids, and
doing kid things,
just doing kid things.
playing in whale god
saying
bellies.
the darndest things.
If every once in a while your kid stumbles into the mouth of a whale god, you swim around, you bring her back, it's all right. You still get the sapphire at the end of the quest, and then you move on. And you said yourself, the only way to get the bigger wallet is to hang out with Agatha. Like, there's always that kid in the neighborhood that you don't want to hang out with, but your parents are friends, so you got to spend at least a Saturday with them.
Their nose is always running.
Yeah, so catch bugs with the weird kid for a little while, and you get a bigger Crown Royal bag to carry your tips home at the end of the night.
The only challenge that I have with that is I think Agatha is less of a weird kid and more of a cry for help.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you're just a babysitter, and it's not
like-
your responsibility. You're not a mandated reporter. You're just catching her
Yeah,
bugs.
but you're an adult
Oh.
and arguably someone with a little bit of responsibility. If you've been shouldered with the entire weight of the world, you should probably find this child, this young entitled child, some mental attention.
Is Link an adult?
Yeah,
in
but
Twilight
you just said
Princess?
it. You got bigger things to worry about. You got the whole world to save. This girl's just kind of into bugs a little too much.
So your response is to this poor child who needs a lot of attention, just take all our money and run.
Yeah, well, like,
Cool.
I'm not trying to exceed my training. I'm not a therapist. I have a sword and a shield and a skirt. I'm just trying to get rupees.
All right, Andrew, tell us some redeeming characteristics of Muzu and Rudo.
Look, in my opinion, Muzu is just like the girlfriend's father you're trying to impress. Yes, he answers the door in his underwear carrying a shotgun, but he just wants what's best for his little girl. He's trying to protect her from the real world, i.e. Link. And maybe he takes things too far sometimes, but he just means well. And the one thing that you're forgetting, Matt, is once that Link proves that he is the legendary hero, once he proves that who he is, Muzu's like totes on board. You didn't see that far in the game, but he's like legit on board with you.
You played
after
the
a while.
game.
He thinks Link is one of the good ones.
Link pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
Yeah,
You played that game. How many times did you die? Like, how many times did
A
you die?
whole lot.
Yeah, all right. So you have to die a whole lot of times before it's like, all right, I mean, he's not like the rest of them. This one's okay.
Oh God.
But what's cool about Muzu is that a lot of the NPCs in Breath of the Wild that aren't the champions are really shitty. Like there's not a lot going on. Like they made the champions really good. Like they wrote the champions very well. They're all compelling characters. But the NPCs who aren't them are literally just signboards. They're signposts. They're
King
moving
Sidian is
signposts.
awesome. King Sidian is a kick-ass NPC, and you know it.
You mean Prince Sidon?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I didn't play this game.
Fair enough. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, the shopkeepers, the people that are populating all the towns, for the most part, are pretty dry and boring. Muzu is one of the very few NPCs in that game that actually has character.
It might
And,
be
like,
bad character, but it's character.
It might be bad character, but it's compelling, and there's an actual story arc to his character. You come in and you're this outsider, and the reason he hates you so much is because the Hylians did fuck up the world. They dug up this old technology that should never have been utilized, tried to use it for themselves to build their own empire, and then Calamity Ganon said fuck off and took over it and blew them all to hell. So the Zoras are sitting here like, yeah, y'all fucked up. Like, that's what happens. So he has a little bit of a right. He literally watched his entire countryside get blown to hell. He has a right to be a little pissed off about it. So maybe he's a little, unfairly judgmental toward Link at the beginning.
That's a soft way of putting it racist, but
Today
continue.
is the day that Andrew justifies racism. Just put that there. Let that be there.
He's from a different era.
He's from a different era. It was a different time. He doesn't mean it.
Ugh.
Let's talk about Ruto.
No.
So
Okay, go ahead.
Ruto has had a unique childhood, and I think comparatively to Agatha, or similar to Agatha, we assume she grew up as a child of privilege. But, similar to Agatha, she was ignored. She was ignored by her father, which I have to assume again because he's too fat to get off that throne. So you have to assume that he never moved.
We're saying a lot of things about a lot of people today. Keep going.
And there's no mention of a queen. There's no mention of a Mama Zora. So there's no other Zora children. They're all adults. She's the only child in the entire kingdom. Her only friend is this elder whale god, who their entire relationship is her playing inside his stomach.
I looked
super weird.
I looked it up. She actually just regularly feeds him. That's why it's normal that she was like in his whale god
So
mouth.
she literally like walks in his mouth to like throw fish inside. Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, she has no like social skills. She hasn't developed any social skills because she's hanging out in this dude's chest cavity all day. So she's not interacting with the other Zora children because there are none. So let alone she's never seen a Hylian before, so she doesn't know how to act. So Link is the first time she's ever seen another child, or another Hylian, let alone another child. So she's just trying to make friends. Does she come off a little strong? Yes. Admittedly, yes. But
you are putting on kid gloves for everything on this. Like, oh, she met a stranger she's never seen before.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. How does she handle this? Makes him carry her.
Because that's all she knows. Of
She
course
saw
she's going to act
someone
like an
different.
entitled. Of course she's going to act like that. That's all she's ever seen. If she's only experienced other royals and other nobles, that's how she's going to act.
So when she sees someone who looks different than herself, she says, this person's beneath me.
Yes.
Why don't I put them into personal servitude to me?
Yep. It's exactly what happens to Ciri the first time Geralt meets her in the Witcher series, but she grows up to be a fine character. Yep.
That was,
Push those.
Read
that was
the
a little
books,
too many,
bitch.
a little
Read
too
the
many
books,
fines
bitch.
there. All right.
So listen, here, just to cap this off,
Please.
like all of us, she grows out of her awkward teen years and becomes one of the 7 sages, one of the 7 people of Hyrule to eventually seal the darkness away and save the land. I would hate anyone for judge me based on my merits of in my awkward teen years. So I don't think it's fair to judge her on her awkward teen years.
So you're judging your character
Says
on awkward
says
teen
the
years.
guy who picked the 10-year-old.
No, she's different.
obsessed
She needs,
with
she
bugs.
needs
That's
help.
different.
It's way different. She needs help.
All right.
So you have wait, no, yeah, I need to make sure we're all on the same
Go.
page here. That Andrew has both justified racism and selectively judged 12-year-olds.
I stand by it.
Yeah, I'll try and save you from digging yourself into a deeper hole here, Andrew, and move on to Todd. Todd, what makes the other 2 choices so good, and that shines a light on your character's blinding flaws? Wow, I really struggled with that. we're gonna go on anyway.
Yeah, so I'm not going to argue that the other characters aren't also bad, but they at least have a driving purpose or something neat to them. And so, like, for Muzu, obviously Muzu's bad. We get it. I've never played that game, but from what I've heard, he's bad, and then he's not bad at the end. But anyway, Muzu gives you the opportunity to prove someone wrong. So what better way to motivate, like, the hero of lore than to prove an old racist has-been wrong? And you know, if you have not raised your voice to a racist uncle at a family gathering, then I can't explain why this NPC should get you fired up and it gives Link purpose. I don't know who among us hasn't argued with some old relative on Facebook. I do it every other day. And the thing is, that fire that you have where you're like, I'm going to keyboard warrior my way to success and change their political views right now, is what Muzu brings to Link. And I think that's important. So there's yeah.
I disagree with everything that you just said.
All right, that's you can say that and be wrong. That's okay.
But I agree that Muzu isn't the worst. But
So-
everything after that, I can't double down on.
Can't back up.
So and again, like, Muzu's obviously a bad Zora for part of it, but he's not a bad NPC in the sense that he encourages what you're doing in a weird way that hits you personally. And as far as Agatha goes, from what you said, she's a functional princess, isn't she?
No, she's
No.
a girl
I
in
thought-
a house.
That is a title she gave to herself.
Yeah, she's self-proclaimed.
But doesn't she rule over bugs? She rules over golden bugs.
You know that bugs don't have like monarchies established, right? Like, you know that.
Yeah,
can you just tell me that you know that?
Because
there's not a president of bugs in our world.
President
like,
of the Beatles.
the queen of a colony certainly doesn't have any sort of, like, you know, purpose or I guess,
okay,
like,
but that
position
is
of power over
she's
that
not
is a
regal.
bug.
That's just a name that people gave
so
her.
it's fine.
Them.
It's fine. It's fine. So the point is, you said she has you, like, collecting her golden bugs. So she rules over golden bugs. She has this, like, authority over bugs.
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah,
canon.
definitely.
She invited them to a ball, so I guess she has like at least PR chair.
Todd, I want to make sure you understand that this is a 10-year-old girl telling you, an adult, I am queen of bugs.
Yeah.
Please find me more bugs to rule over.
Yeah.
But has no jurisdiction or authority
it's
over
like
these
Occam's
bugs.
razor. Like,
So-
if a 10-year-old tells you that she rules over a kingdom of bugs, it feels like she's lying. She's probably lying because she's a 10-year-old girl.
I'll give you
In this
so
scenario, this 10-year-old girl handed you her toy phone, and you really believed there was someone on the other line. But there is not. This is all fantasy in her head. I want to make sure you understand that as a human being.
Okay, so some other points then. So at most, she's irrelevant and gives you a small fetch quest.
She's
but,
definitely irrelevant.
But I'm just going to draw a comparison real quick. She is the queen of bugs, and I think that is cool because remember the Naruto ninja that controlled bugs? He was the ninja of bugs, and that was badass.
But he
and
actually controlled
Nope,
bugs.
my turn to talk, not your turn to talk. And so I see those things.
You are not using
so
Naruto
the
against
other-
me. You're not doing it. You're not going to do it.
Other point. So what if she has a bug kink? I think that's okay. In 2018, hashtag don't king shame me.
And there's our
And-
cold open.
And so also she gives you the wallet increase, right? She helps you increase your wallet.
Yes.
Every increase.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So in Ocarina of Time, you had to hunt down those godforsaken Skulltulas and go to their fucking creepy Skulltula weird ass house to get those wallet increases.
Right.
And if I'm giving the choice between those two, I'm going to take a hard pass on the Skulltulas. I'll take a bug freak because I'm a real freak.
See, I hear what you're saying. Here's my problem with the
You
quest,
heard the
right?
Kanye quote?
Here's what it is. Here's my problem with this quest. The Skulltula thing is a nightmare, obviously.
Yeah.
Nobody likes
bad.
to do Skulltula. But the purpose of the Skulltulas was to showcase like Link in 3D space. Like, you had to use all the tools that you had. You had to search around in 3D space. You had to look in crevices. You had to fire arrow in certain areas. You had to use your brain at least to like find them.
So
The
it was
bug
a game long tutorial.
Exactly. Which that's Legend of
best-
Zelda. It's
the
a whole
best kind.
tutorial. It's a small world. It's a Disney World ride. That's what you sign up for playing a Zelda game. But with the bug quests, it's literally just running around in circles, looking for like squinting and looking for these little like half-colored bits and bobs in the grass. Like you're not doing anything other than walking around and waiting for an A prompt, which I guess is the entire Legend of Zelda series.
Yeah, we shouldn't read too much
splitting
into that.
hairs here.
All right. So that has given me a lot to think about. But we do have one more round of questions. We have our super secret bonus question. And I can give you guys a minute to think about it if you need it. So Matt, answer as soon as you're ready. You're going to lead us off. But our super secret bonus question this week is, so take your character, don't change the essence of the character, but make them redeemable. Make them a character you actually would want to interact with in this game, and tell me how you do it, what they're like now, but keep the core of the character intact.
Sure. Well, the core of Muzu is that he was Mipha's teacher. Like, Mipha was the princess, he was her educator and her guidance through life. So he is close to Mipha and has a personal relationship with Mipha, and that is the core of his value. The racism, that's just an accoutrement. So we're just gonna chop that racism bit off, make him a little bit less racist, and so here's the thing, man. It's okay if he doesn't like Hylians. That's alright. Like I say to most people in my family, it's okay to not like people. It's not okay to assume that you don't like an entire race of people because of the acts of 4 of them. And to be overwhelmingly racist towards Hylians because actually 100+ years ago, a couple of them made some bad decisions about some ancient technology and something, end of the known universe. Here we are now. You don't need to be racist to all of the Hylians. It's okay to not like them, so we don't even need to change that much. Just, the blatant racism, we can tone that down, and it'll be okay. If you don't want to help me until I prove to you that I am worth helping, okay, I'll prove to you that I'm worth helping. But I don't want to prove to you I'm worth helping because of my race. I want to prove to you I'm worth helping because I'm good at shit, like Link is. There, that's it. It's super easy. It's not even that hard to change this guy. It's just racist, and I don't like it. I don't understand why they had to put a blatantly racist guy in a Zelda game. Bothers me.
Matt's using this podcast to take a hard no on racism.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I am. Goddammit.
That's brave. That's brave. That's bravery. Everyone.
It's a hot take. No, say
All
no
right.
to hate. It's a hot take.
Andrew, how would you improve or make Agatha redeemable or a good character?
Yeah, I'm going to actually take a little bit of a beat from Todd here and say Agatha would be way better if she actually did have control over bugs.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because think of that quest now. Instead of searching for bugs, it's Agatha summoning a giant frickin' stag beetle to attack Hyrule Castle. And you as Link have to go in and fight the stag beetle, mano a mano, and this giant 10-foot stag beetle who's charging at you or something. Or, Link having to ride on top of or climb on top of a la Shadow of the Colossus, a giant dragonfly who's spitting fire across the Gerudo Desert. That is awesome. That's a game that I want to play. And then when you beat the bugs, they shrink down to their normal size and you pop them in a jar and then you take them back. I'm down for that. It's just the searching and the looking and the wandering around in the grass for normal ass bugs who don't have super awesome powers. That's what's a little less than cool.
All right. And Todd, fix Rudo for us.
Yeah, this one's super simple too. So Princess Rudo in the fixed universe, she's going to retain her title with a new filter over it. So this is going to come at you hot also from the 90s. I'm going to introduce to you Rudo Warrior Princess, right? So she fights to liberate her people. She throws a chakram, and she is played by Lucy Lawless. So if you listen real closely, you hear that sound? It's the piles of cash flowing in from the next AAA game for Switch coming in holiday 2020.
All right.
All right. So I've got a lot to think about. I've got my debate this algorithm open here in my second monitor. I'm gonna punch these numbers in, see what answer it spits out. While I do that,
He did it.
no.
He did it.
No, you're all the worst.
He missed it.
I forgot the closing statements.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So we'll just ignore that big long setup for good vibes that I did, and
We'll pop in
just-
more metaphors later.
Yeah, just close us out. Give us your closing statements, your thesis on why this character is the absolute worst. Matt.
Sure. Because I have a reputation to uphold, I'm going to quote some song lyrics from one of my personal favorite bands, Anti-Flag, and their song, Racists. And I'm going to quote this lyric, and it says, "Just because you don't know you're racist, you don't get a pass when you're talking your shit." And that's how I feel about Muzu. He shouldn't get a pass because he gets a little bit of a redemption story at the end. He shouldn't get a pass because he tells you where the shocky arrows are. He's just an annoying racist who serves no purpose. He is a racist MacGuffin, and that's dumb. And we don't need more MacGuffins in The Legend of Zelda. We have plenty of those. We especially don't need them to have not even racist undertones, heavily racist overtones. He's just fucking racist, man. End of my closing statement.
I do not get how he's a MacGuffin, but we can blow past that.
Because
I think-
he only really exists as far as game content goes to tell you where the shock arrows are. That's the only thing you ever get from him.
Fair enough.
All right, Andrew.
Agatha, and more importantly, her quest, represents the pointless grind that these later Zelda games have become. And to an extent, Breath of the Wild, too. Like I said, unless it's Animal Crossing or maybe Pokemon, I don't want to collect bugs. I just don't want to do it. If it's something I can do in real world, I'm not going to do it in a game. It's pointless. I'm playing a game where I can literally get in sword fights with demons or fire arrows at flaming pigmen on horseback. I'm not going to spend 10 hours running around collecting grasshoppers. I'm just not going to do it. And this bullshit collectathon continued. You collect bugs again in Skyward Sword. Like, they didn't even stop. It's like every Final Fantasy game now has to have a fishing component. Like, stop. I don't want to do it. And as far as Agatha is concerned, this isn't even the last game that she ruined. They put her in. They needed someone else from Twilight Princess other than Midna in Hyrule Warriors, which is a very good game. Save for they added Agatha.
Though?
Yeah, I like it. It's fun. But she's just a mess of a character. She does the least amount of damage. Her range is terrible because she's like attacking with a parasol, and like her abilities are kind of what I answered in the super secret question that
She gets to
can
control
summon
bugs.
She summons bugs, but it doesn't do anything. That's the thing. Like, it is such a wet fart of a character. Like, this would be so cool, and it's just a nightmare. She is at best a silly one-trick pony NPC. She could have been really fun flavor, like a Muzu, somewhere like a signpost that you walk by. It's like, oh, that's interesting. But they tried to make her a thing. They tried to make her a supporting character. And it's just result is just a weird, messed up sexual disaster.
Oh.
Weirdly sexual disaster.
Title of your sex tape?
Title of your sex tape. There it is. All right, Todd.
Yeah. Okay, so it is not even up for debate. Young Princess Ruto is terrible from beginning to end. Her role in Jabu Jabu's temple is pretending to be a stationary box that just complains. And it ends with her passing off what is the Zora's most valuable item that she treats like her own personal fidget spinner and just carelessly drops it because she carries it around like an idiot. And so, furthermore, per what Andrew said, even when she grows up and becomes one of the 7 sages, what temple is she the sage of? You guessed it, the water temple. She didn't learn to not be terrible. She doubled down on it. Ruto never stops being terrible, and you have no choice than to do exactly what she wants you to do, or you don't get past the 3rd temple, and you definitely don't get to rally all 7 of the sages. Ruto rules your life, and you are playing by her rules throughout 2 decades of Link's life. Why? Because you need the Zora Sapphire. Oh, and because fuck you, that's why. Because Ruto just controls everything that you need. She's this gatekeeper that just stands in the way with her fetch quest. And she is a monster.
Unpopular opinion, I don't think the water temple is the worst temple in Ocarina
No,
of
it's
Time.
not, but the internet thinks it is, and so I'm leaning to that one.
Got it. Can't argue with that.
That's fair.
Solid logic there. All right. So now we're going to take all the setup I had for good vibes earlier. We're just going to act like I said it right now. And but it's not good vibes this week because we're talking about awful things. So tell me why the other two choices were such good choices for the worst characters. If that sentence made any sense at all, you know what I'm saying. Do it.
Man,
Dance, monkeys.
if there is one thing that I really, really dislike in my daily life, it is my interactions with children under the age of 14. If there's one thing that I really, really hate about RPGs, it's bullshit fetch quests. So if a children...
I think everything that we've voiced over today reflects what you hate about RPGs.
It's so true, man. If you give me a fetch quest given to me by a weird child under the age of 14, I am fucking out. I'm done. I'm not into it, man.
I feel like Matt would really loathe that character in Wind Waker who always has like snot coming out of his nose.
I do. I watched a playthrough of that. And I hate him. Oh,
Can
God.
Wait. I just realized something that I was like, oh, Matt got done saying why Andrew's character is bad. I wonder when he's going to say why my character is bad. And then I realized
because we picked basically the same character in different games.
Everything Matt said applies to mine because much like your character, my character also proved that children are terrible and they suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've never played Ocarina. I played, and I didn't even play. I sat on the couch while somebody else played the first less than half of Twilight Princess. So my investment with both of these characters is minimal. But just as described in the last hour, children under the age of 14 and bullshit fetch quests, not a fan. Don't like them.
Yeah.
Not into it.
Not
Next.
Not a fan. Not into it.
All right.
I think Matt, we have to
Andrew.
get you to play Link to the Past. I think you would like that one.
Maybe.
That's definitely more adventuring than RPGing, if that makes any sense.
It takes all of the BS story.
Is
out
that
of
the overhead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I could fuck with that.
Yeah, these were really good. I mean, like I said, these all reflect the worst things in Zelda, which is bad character writing, bad quests, and bad dungeons. Like it's the real quick hits. Ruto is so good, and that dungeon is so awful for just so many reasons.
It's stupid.
I hate it. Like it is the reason why every time I think I would love to play Ocarina of Time, I get nope, jabu, nope, no thank you, nope, I pass. Muzu was really good. I didn't realize that's who that was at first when you first said it, and it took me a minute. He is definitely. I mean, my argument originally stands. He's one of the most memorable because he is one of the most awful.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So I'll put the hot take out there. That I think that what The Legend of Zelda needed to keep it fresh and relevant was a racist. So what better way to deeply root The Legend of Zelda into the year? Did that come out in 2016?
17.
Breath of the Wild?
17.
Last year.
17.
Was it 17?
Yeah.
So even better. What better way to truly tap into the society around us than firmly plant a racist in Legend of Zelda? Just to remind you how terrible life is around you. So
You heard it here first, folks. Todd's way to improve games, more
Add
racism.
more
Yeah. Yep.
if there's one thing the video game scene needs, let me rephrase that. If there's one thing these angry white keyboard nerds need, it's more racism. So no, I never played that game. I honestly don't know much about it, but Muzu sounds at least like a terrible NPC that makes you hate him. And so, I mean, they achieved their goal, and then it sounds like he has a third act, turn that is great. Because why not? Can't leave racists as racists. That's good.
Yep.
Little disappointed when you corrected me that Agatha doesn't control bugs, because in my head I was like, this 12-year-old controls bugs. What is Andrew even talking about? Like,
That's
yeah,
awesome, right?
Yeah, she's annoying, but whatever.
Yeah.
But no, that sucks. I remember having to hunt down those Skulltula things and hating it for a variety of reasons. And so anything that goes back to that, anytime you have to do fetch quests to increase your wallet size or to find the 4th goddamn bottle from Ocarina of Time, whatever it is, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want that. Especially something like, oh, you need it to get your wallet over 99 rupees. Like, damn it, that's something I need.
Yes, you can't live without it. You can't.
And you're standing in between me and what I need, and it's not even optional. I just have to do it.
I don't. So, I think Twilight Princess is one of the worst. Honestly, I know a lot of people love it. It's rough. It's tough to get through.
Twilight Princess has some really high highs, but it also has some really low lows.
Yes,
I think actually, about where I realized I was gonna have to go find 24 bugs to get a bigger wallet was about the point I stopped playing Twilight Princess.
Yeah, and I didn't play Twilight Princess at all. So, like, again, that's another game that I'm familiar with the art style because I thought it looked really cool, but I definitely did not play it. But yeah, it sounds like Agatha is a true letdown of a speed bump in your quest to try and like save the world or whatever it is Link's doing in that one.
He's saving the world.
It's always saving the world.
It's something.
Oh, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not a racist. Like, I just need to say that. Like, I just need everyone to hear it. I know we all thought it and assumed it, but just, put it out there. Racism is bad. Todd is also not a racist. Like, racism is very bad. We do not advocate for racism.
No, I would like to say,
surprisingly, though, Matt is a racist.
Hey, now!
Makes his choice really weird.
That's the plot twist here.
I want to throw it out there that I'm glad we can all agree that we're not racist, us 4 white guys making a podcast. But if we were racist, we'd be saying that we're not racist. So I want to just throw that out there too.
Hey, Kyle, why don't you make a decision so we can move on?
All right. So before we get into this spiral of we're not racists, but that's what a racist would say. So I've thought it over, crunched the numbers.
Did you make some decision sausage?
No, because ew. And I have reached my decision though. No sausage involved at all. These were all good choices. These are all very memorably bad characters. Unfortunately for 2 of you, 2 of them fill very similar niches, and one of them stands out as being blatantly racist.
Yes!
So, Matt, you win this week.
Yes! Oh my god!
Todd and Andrew, you both
He's
picked
so happy.
children. You both picked children who have time in their lives to change, as we see with Rudo. Rudo changed. Like,
but
we jump forward 7 years, and she's better.
Todd, look how happy he is. I don't even want to take this away from him.
I don't want to take anything from Matt, but
you picked on the weird kid who liked bugs in grade school. Like you said, we all say weird things when we're 10, and we all have our weird hobbies when we're that age. And
listen,
I can't fault a poor kid for that. As annoying as she may be.
I don't want to take anything away from Matt. I just want Kyle to be sad all the time.
Wow.
Well, too late for that, because that's already happened. But
who's the real loser? Because I'm already there.
just through the circumstances of my life. So, thanks for that, Todd. This has been Debate This. You can follow along with the argument on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow us at debatethiscast.com. You can also check us out on Twitch, where we will be streaming more games. Our video, our 8-hour video of
6.5.
6.5 hour video of Andrew streaming until dawn.
Of Andrew
while
killing
Todd,
sexy teens.
of Andrew brutally murdering
They
sexy
died for
teens.
a purpose.
That is up there.
Can I announce what our next one's going to be?
Please do.
Next one, we don't know when it's going to be at, but we're going to be streaming Detroit Become Human, which is going to be another very story-driven narrative. We probably won't do it all in one sitting because that would literally kill us.
Yeah.
But
Like a
more
12-hour
details
game.
coming soon.
Hopefully we kill less sexy teens.
Fingers
this time.
crossed.
Fewer sexy teens.
Because
It can only go down from
we
here.
went on a sexy teen slaughter last weekend.
I think we were the real monster of that
the,
story.
the real monster was Andrew when we through that
whole
playthrough.
time.
All right. So if you like what you hear, please leave us a review so more people can hear our dumb podcast. Until next week, I'm Kyle Harper.
I'm Matt, bit of honey Cole.
I'm Andrew, definitely not a racist, Henderson.
And I'm Todd. The circus peanuts are the worst, and you're all wrong, Thomas.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for debating with us. And if you think you're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.